Oh, are we on? Yeah.
Hi.
Such noobs to this. Hey, everyone. I'm Kristina, and this is Steph.
Hi, y'all.
We're the co-founders of Open House. We're gonna kind of let some people trickle in. I'm curious as like where everyone's coming from, actually. How did you find us? How did
Yes,
you
tell
find...
us in the chat.
Yeah, I'm interested. What are people saying?
Houston.
Oh, Instagram, Coffee and Coin
Ooh,
podcast
nice.
from LA. Oh, Croatia.
Oh my God,
Awesome.
Croatia.
Bravely. Love
Everywhere.
Sarah. Ooh, lots of Bravelies.
I drive past your office. Oh,
Aw. Natalie podcast. Cool.
yay.
Okay, well, I guess we can start. So this is, I guess, our second webinar now, in a while. So bear with us. Also, our TA, Celeste, will be in the chat kind of interacting with y'all and collecting questions because we will be doing a Q&A at the end. So if you do have a question, you can still, write it in there. Just know that we'll answer it at the end.
Thank you guys so much for being here. I'm so excited. Today we're going to help you basically make the shift from where you are now, renting, paying someone else's mortgage, feeling potentially out of control of your living space, into becoming a homeowner. Not only a homeowner, but a successful, confident homeowner and an investor. And we're going to teach you how you can make money with this move and how you can quickly grow your net worth, how we have. So thank you again for being here. We're so happy to.
Yeah, especially like I know we are probably so zoomed out. Like I
Yes.
don't want to be on a screen anymore. So this really means a lot to us.
Really
Also, just a heads up, like if you stay with us until the end, and you decide you would like to work with us as you go through the home buying journey, just stick with us till the end because we're going to give you like a little special bonus and that will get you there faster. And so we're going to just give you that at the end of the webinar. I know that's like a little bit of a teaser. You're probably like, okay, that's annoying, but stick with us and I promise it'll be worth it.
And this is as much for me as it is for you guys, but give yourself this time. We want you to get the most out of this webinar. And I know I am so incredibly easily distracted. And like Kristina said, we're also kind of tired of Zoom that it's easy to get distracted, but give yourself this. We want you to make the most of this and get the most out of it that you can. So turn your phone off, close your door, and let's get started.
I just got distracted by the comments. I was like, yeah, we're talking about being distracted. Okay, so we wanted to first start off with a fun activity. So think of the 3 things that you're looking for in your first home and share them in the chat. So we're gonna give you like 30 seconds or so. Yeah, I want to read what y'all are wanting. I'm actually looking to buy a home very soon, another home to live in because our house is getting too small right now. So I think I want like 2 bathrooms and like a big enough lot that I can build a tiny home.
Ooh,
Okay.
A bedroom balcony. I love that. Luxury.
Natural light, tiny home, land approved. Yep. Big backyard, potential to house hack, access to public transportation. Yes. Office space, enough bedrooms for my family, 4 bedrooms. Yes. Natural light, room for pets.
Yes.
Yep, a lot of that. I love it's always natural light like that. It's funny because when I bought my house, it had no natural light because all the windows were taped shut. Like she had tacked paper on all the windows, so it looked really dark. And I was like, I feel like it will be really light in here after.
Yes. Natural light, though. It's important for mental health. It's important for all of it. These are good answers.
Exactly.
Okay. So we really want to make sure you're here in the right place. So feel free to agree with any of these in the chat if one particularly resonates with you. But you might dream of owning your own space for you to customize to how you want it to be. And I saw a little bit of that, your own style, your own functionality. This is so incredibly important to quality of life. And it's hard to do this in a rental. So this could be why you're wanting to kind of jump out of the rental game and get into your own house. Maybe you're interested in another stream of income. And a lot of you probably from Bravely are interested in this. She talks a lot about streams of income. And real estate is a great way to jump into the second, third, fourth streams of income game. And then it's also super overwhelming that there's so much information out there. So you could be worried about getting started. Or you're just ready to stop paying someone else's mortgage. Every month you're paying rent instead of paying into your own pocket. So you might be ready to just start building your own net worth, building your own generational wealth. So 3 reasons why you might be here. Choose the one that resonates with you the most. If you're like me and Kristina, it's probably all of the above. But if one resonates with you the most out of all of these, and choose that one. If it's like far above. I love this.
Yeah, I think like when I first started, mine was probably like I didn't want to pay rent anymore. I wanted to make income as well.
Yeah. And then rent kept on going up for me. I was worried about being priced out. So yes. Ooh, interesting. Stop paying someone else's mortgage. Most popular answer. Yes. So whatever your motivation for being here, whatever your reason for coming tonight, we know you can do it. And we are we believe so much in this community. And I can't stress to you enough how much we support you. And we know you can do it because we have done it. And we've seen so many people do it. So please, hopefully, if you don't believe in yourself yet, we believe in you. And we know you're going to be an investor in no time.
Okay, so a little bit about us, just for some context before we jump in case y'all don't know who we are. So Steph and I actually met online on Instagram. Actually, I was renovating my first home and I was desperately trying to find other people like me doing it also. And we met up, I think it was kind of tropical, and we met up for like 4 hours. Best first blind date ever. And we instantly connected about real estate and investing, our love for helping first-time home buyers. So after a few years of being friends and buying a couple investment properties together, we formed Open House Austin. So we are a real estate education and empowerment company, and we've helped hundreds of people buy their first home in Austin. And we're finally branching out to help people all over the country. So through our own take on what we call like real estate grad school, like lots of trial and error over the years, we've been able to buy lots of investment properties and have grown like so much from this experience. We are seriously, anyone who knows us knows we are the biggest real estate nerds. Mainly because like we saw how creative you can get with your money and how much confidence you gain through this experience. And we wanted like this for other people, like us who may not have had the privilege of having wealth just like handed to them, you know? So I know we have 7 years of experience under our belt now, but trust us, like you literally can do this as well. And it truly starts with one property. So we have 20 properties between the both of us now, but we both started with 0. Distracted.
Oh my gosh.
Calling you out.
Wow. See? Okay, go on.
But yeah, so because of real estate, like we have gained passive income from rental properties, and that contributes to our quality of life. Like we had the freedom to start our own company and be our own bosses. We now have a solid retirement plan that we don't have to wait until we're like 65 to enjoy. And we've gotten rid of our housing expensive, which is super exciting to us. And we get to remodel and actually customize our own spaces. So through buying our first home, it really sank in that the way to financial safety and security was having multiple streams of passive income. Unfortunately, we couldn't just rely on the income from our job anymore. So, as you probably already know too.
Yes. Okay. Do a little exercise with me. I know we can't see your faces, so this is on our system, but close your eyes and imagine what it would feel like to completely eliminate housing costs from your budget forever. So think about paying your rent monthly and how much of that, the percentage of that is from your income that could be gone. And you could give yourself essentially a $20,000 raise every year. Okay, you can open your eyes. Just think about the freedom that you could achieve through just limiting your housing costs. The vacations you could save for, the investing you can do, so many opportunities just from getting rid of this housing cost. So this is what we've done, and we want to teach you to do the same. I'm going to read this slide because I think it's important. Buying a house is the single fastest and most powerful way to grow your net worth, eliminate your housing costs, and create passive income. And it really does just start with one house. I know you've seen real estate investors and you don't picture just one person owning one house, but we think you can be a real estate investor even just owning one. So if you're anything like us, you probably want to know what's happening over this hour. We're going to tell you 3 strategies to buy your first house and making an investment. First, we'll go over homebuyer hacks to get into your first house sooner, faster. No, that's the same thing. Sooner, smarter, and cheaper. And then we're going to go into creating cash flow once you have your house. And then once you have your house and you're creating your cash flow, how to turn that into your dream life, how your first house can be a gateway to anything that you've ever dreamed of, which sounds really cheesy. I'm hearing it out loud, but we're like really, really excited to tell you about the dream life portion, because that's what's most exciting. Like buying a house is fun and interesting, but it really is a gateway to everything that you could imagine. Yeah. And we'll tell you how to work with us, and then we'll do a live Q&A. So again, write your questions in the chat. We will save them for the end. And Celeste might answer them in the chat too if it kind of aligns with what she knows. All right.
Okay, let's start off by talking about homebuyer hacks. So many people are intimidated about getting into their first home, and me and Steph have noticed that not having enough money is a top concern. So the following 3 buyer hacks can actually help you purchase a home with less cash upfront than you probably think is necessary. And I think a lot of us don't make a move because we think like you might need more, and then you don't even, it's like this nebulous number. You're like, I don't know how much it is, but it's probably a lot. So I'm just going to stop right here. So first up is partnering. Steph and I have used partnerships to buy almost all of our investment properties. And the reason is because when we started, we literally had no idea what we were doing. We also didn't have a lot of capital. So sharing the liability with someone else was not only super smart for us to do, but it made us feel comfortable starting before we thought we were ready. And I'm so glad that we actually did that. The next hack is first-time homebuyer programs. So I think most people are confused by these programs, and so they never pursue them. But many of you here probably qualify for a homebuyer grant that would pay the majority of the cost for you to buy a house. So you just need to know like where to look and the right questions to ask. Our advice is, actually look into them. Like do your research, ask your lender, ask your realtor, ask us, and just look into it.
Our agents have a database of all of the first-time buyer programs we've had our clients use and that we just hear about on the streets. And it's important to know that they're not only income-based, some of them are location-based. So just because, maybe you think your income might be too high to qualify, it could be a really good option for you. And it could not be. So it's just important to know all of your options before you make conclusions.
That's so true. Okay, the third hack is putting low money down. So we love this strategy for you right now, not only because interest rates are super low, but because as a first-time buyer, you can actually put as little as 3% down. And I know it's a super hot market right now. Like, I don't know where everyone is from right now, but I think in a lot of places in the country, there's multiple offers. So you probably heard that you might need more money to like win bids, but we actually teach you how to be a creative investor. So you don't necessarily need, to have a lot of cash. And then if you do use the like exact steps we teach you to do this, it's, it'll be a game changer for you. Okay. Oh yeah. We actually we actually had a buyer use all three of these hacks to buy his first home, and it was actually my partner Eric. He's in the other room, and I kind of told him I put him in this presentation, but I don't know if he knows that for sure. So this was a few years ago before he moved into my house and took over. Steph can attest.
Yes.
So Eric actually had a good amount of debt, including student loans, and he didn't have a lot of money. So he was also renting an apartment that I personally thought was expensive at the Domain. And he had a passion for coffee and was considering leaving his job he hated to pursue his dream of owning a coffee company. And I was like, okay, before you quit, I think you should buy a house and make it an investment and get rid of some of that debt. And he was just like, what do you mean? Like, I can't do that. How am I supposed to buy a house? So he didn't think he could. And he also had some shame about his finances and honestly didn't think he could buy a house. But it is interesting that he did think he could start a business, and not buy a house. So after I showed him a few strategies and sent him to a reliable lender, he soon discovered that he actually qualified for a home buyer program and he could afford to buy a house on his own. So he was able to put low money down and bought a house all on his own. And then soon after that, he actually quit his job and opened a coffee company, Lovercraft Coffee, big little plug there. So over the years, I actually partnered with him to fix up the home a bit and make it an Airbnb for cash flow. And then he moved in with me.
I love that you partnered with him this is after he bought the house.
Yeah.
It just shows how many options there are for partnership. And you already said this, but we love the idea of partnership, and it has made so much possible for us that wouldn't have been possible for us otherwise. And it literally, there's not a template as to how it has to look. Like, you partnered with Eric in basically making his property a higher cash flow creator. And
I got a cut of the deal.
Yeah, which is so smart.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then, I guess, and there's different ways to do it. Like when I bought the current home I'm in now, I actually partnered with my sister to buy it. So she lived in New York City, and she couldn't afford to buy. She was 23, and also I don't think she could afford to buy probably now either. It's so expensive to live there. And I needed the salary job because I had just gotten my real estate license. And so I was still like self-employed and technically needed like 2 years of showing income. So it was a win-win for both of us. And I'm actually kind of curious to like who you all would partner. Is there like someone in your life that you would consider approaching to partner with to buy your first house? I want to see. And I've partnered with my friends, family, and Steph and I have bought a few properties, as you know, together. Okay, someone says my friend Luna, my fiance, my mom, my husband, my roommate. Roommate's a good one. My neighbor, my boyfriend. Yes, no idea. Well, you soon, like in our community, you'll find people to partner with.
So many people looking for partners.
Yes.
My dog.
That got me.
Yes, parentals, common. Yeah, like Kristina, I have partnered with everyone. I've roped people into partnering with me in every aspect of my life. So yeah, and I also hear a lot of people. It doesn't sound like you guys are hesitant about this, which is amazing. But one of the things we hear is, I don't want to ruin the relationship. And that is very valid. But the way that we do it is you're very clear up front. Everything is mapped out. You have an operating agreement, and it really minimizes what can happen to the relationship.
Yeah. And I think like, me and you have definitely gone through our fair share of partnerships, and like, obviously not all of them were the best, but I think it made us learn a lot, and I wouldn't trade that for anything. And still we got a piece of the deal and got in our real estate grad school. So
always
I think, sorry, go on, Steph.
Always learning. That's the key.
Yes. And I think we tend to like see every kind of like mistake or anything that goes wrong is like a learning opportunity. Like we've really trained our minds to do that. I don't know where we got that from, but it has served us so far.
Yes.
Okay, let's move on from this. Okay, so hopefully this is making you see that you shouldn't let like your job status or lack of cash saved prevent you from taking action. Like you don't have anything to lose to just talk to a lender about putting low money down. Like what does that mean for you? Or starting a conversation with a potential partner. So this will, like this is going to put you ahead of so many people who are so scared of, making a move.
Yeah. The worst they can say is no.
Yeah, just starting the conversation is your true first step.
Yes. Okay, so let's jump into creating cash flow once you have the property. There's a couple options here, and we're kind of going to go on a scale from least privacy to most privacy, and least lift or lowest lift to highest lift. And when I say lift, it's effort and money. So the first one is renting a room. And this is obviously the easiest because you probably have an extra room in your house that you've bought. And maybe you have 2 rooms. This is obviously the least amount of privacy you're sharing. You potentially are sharing a bathroom or kitchen. And this is, all of these are kind of dependent on where you are in your life, right? There's some people on this call that are like, I would never have a roommate again. I'm done with that part of my life. And then there's some people who are like, actually, I'm willing, I have a goal and I'm willing to be a little bit uncomfortable to achieve that goal and then eventually become the most comfortable because I have sacrificed a little bit along the way. Kristina and I have done all of these things, all of these options and every combination of them. So renting out a room, you can do it in a couple ways. You can short term, which Airbnb a room, that's pretty common. Long term, like a year lease or 2-year lease. Or you can do kind of a mixture where it's 3-month lease or, a 6-month lease. You did this, right, on your first house?
Yeah, actually in this house that I'm sitting in right now. So the room I'm sitting in right now that is now my office used to be, so when I bought my house, I bought a 3-bedroom, 1-bath house. I wanted to buy in an area that I like really loved, and that meant like it was really competitive. So I found a house in my price point and was like, I don't want to pay this mortgage payment. So at the time I was like, this was before I met Eric or whatever, and I was just like, I want to eliminate my monthly payment. So this room has its own entrance, so it has a separate door. So I was like, I'm gonna test out these options. I'm gonna try Airbnb this room and seeing like how I like that. And then the middle room, I'm going to have a kind of a short-term renter. They're going to stay for like 3 to 6 months. So, if I don't like them, they don't like me, they steal my wine, then they can leave. I know they're leaving.
Yeah.
So I tested both of those out. And I also was able to make more money that way because both rooms, for a furnished room, I was able to just cash flow a little bit more. So I did do that.
And you cash flowed in a house that you were living in. So you paid your whole mortgage on the months you had 2 roommates. You could also be like, I'm tired of having roommates this month, block Airbnb and you don't have a roommate, and then you can enjoy your privacy. It's a really cool, the way that you did it is such an experimental way, which kind of demonstrates that when you have your own home, you can try things out. You might not like it. You might, it might just be for a year. Maybe again, you're reaching goals. You're trying to get towards your savings.
That first year I saved $22,000, which was amazing. Like I was like, holy shit, like this is great. I could reinvest it.
Yes, when you eliminate the largest cost that you have monthly, it's so much easier to save. So that's one way. And then if you're in the camp of I don't want a roommate anymore, I'm done. I like the next one a lot. So you can buy a duplex, which you've probably already thought of, and you might have been discouraged by the number of duplexes on the market. Or in Austin, we see very few duplexes, and a lot of times duplexes are expensive because it's really obvious. The value is really obvious, right? You live in one unit and rent the other one. And then the other problem is they're a lot of times pretty run down because they've been rentals forever. So if that's not an option, start buying a duplex that's already been made into a duplex. We have another option that we've coined called a sneaky duplex. This is an open house favorite. We basically have figured out how to divide a single family home into 2 units in a sneaky way. And sneaky just because you're buying a regular house. Not everyone can see the value like we can if we're creative about this. So basically a sneaky duplex, it could be as simple as blocking off a door. And
you did this.
I did this. Yes. I'm famous for this in our little community. This is, I love this because it is pretty low lift. If you block off a door, in my house, I have big, like nice mid-century piece of furniture in front of a door. And then on the other side, it's my coffee station in the Airbnb. And there's an exterior entrance, so they don't have to come into my house. They don't come into my kitchen. They don't use my bathroom. They have their own. There's not a full kitchen in that little suite that I blocked off. And so they have a little mini fridge. They have a microwave. And it's kind of like a hotel room.
Yeah.
It's booked 95% of the time. And I cover my mortgage, plus I'm cash flowing about $600 a month in the house that I lived in.
And being in there, you would never know that you were doing that. It's really cool.
Yeah. It's really nice the way that it's set up, and my guests loved it. And I was in a really walkable location, but don't let that discourage you if you don't buy in a walkable location, because I see this done in every location you could think. 5 miles from downtown.
Yeah, even my house, like it's in a good location, but it's not like Steph's house, you walk out and there's a bar there. Like my house is not like that. So, and I still was, doing like having a room, Airbnb a room. So, we've seen clients doing having Airbnb rentals like far away and also close to the city, and having success with it.
So many options. And really the biggest, so you block off the door inside. I like to you could also take the door away if you wanted this to be like a long-term situation, but I love the versatility of being able to, if for some reason in the future, I don't want that to be 2 units anymore, I can take away the furniture and then that door is still there. And now I have that room back into the house incorporated back. So I love that. And then if you see a house, and this is all about looking at it with a creative eye. And you could have a house that the layout would work perfectly, but there's not an exterior entrance. You can add one. It's so easy for a contractor to just come point out where you want the door. It'll take them probably 1 day, and you'll have an exterior entrance on your property, on wherever you want. A lot of times that does require a permit, but it depends on the city. And some cities it might not. So love that option for privacy and for income. You are still sharing a wall. In the next one, you aren't sharing a wall. And this one I've also done, and we've had clients do this. It's adding an ADU. ADU is an accessory dwelling unit, basically a little tiny house, or even it could be bigger than a tiny house, in the back of your lot. So this is the most privacy and the biggest lift, because you're having to build this if it's not already there. But it is going to create the most income because people like to rent things that don't share any walls. So we actually had a client do this, and these are her adorable photos. I helped her buy this house. This was their first house. In her criteria, she wanted a little unit in the back, or at least a lot that would accommodate this. In Austin, there's a minimum lot size required for adding a little ADU in the back. In the left, that's what it looked like before, just a little lawnmower shed, didn't have any finish outs on the inside. And then she transformed it into this beautiful casita. It's kind of like a studio apartment. It has a little kitchen, it has a bathroom. And she posted on Airbnb, and she rents it. She's probably 5 or 6 miles from the center of downtown, so not what you would necessarily think of like a tourist location. And she pays her whole entire mortgage plus her utilities, and she cash flows a little bit. So that is goals, right? But you can do this. Like everybody has the ability to do this.
Yeah.
Okay, so now that you've seen all of our house hacking methods, these are obviously ones that we've personally used and we've had clients use. Which one is the most appealing to you?
I'm interested. And also, like, some people are probably like, well, how am I supposed to afford to do that? And that's literally why we think putting low money down is so important, because interest rates are super low right now. Even if they were like 4%, like that's still low. And you can use the rest of that cash to reinvest it into your house to make it cash flow even sooner,
Yeah.
in many different ways. So
Yes, if you do have that money saved, then low money is still a great option, I think.
exactly. Oh, okay.
Ooh, yeah. Most people want to build an ADU. I agree. I've done this. I did mine from scratch, and it's the best thing I've done. It's double the amount of income I'm able to bring in from that property, and it's also so cute.
Yeah, it is. I love it. You
Yeah.
even have the option of like buying one that just they roll it onto your property like you do.
Yes. Yes, I have one of those too. I've rolled it right on. It's already finished.
Mm-hmm.
So many options.
Yeah.
So loved it. Still people wanting to rent a room, which I love so much. I love when people are willing to, take a little sacrifice at the beginning to live a better life later.
And also, when at a certain stage of my life, I'm like, I would live with like 4 people if I was going to make $800 a month. Like, I don't care. Like, that's a lot of money, and I would do whatever. We were definitely scrappier.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. But we've
very
kind of worked our way up the ladder a little bit, where like now we're still being really smart, but not having to be as scrappy. So
yeah.
you might be at the beginning of your journey.
Yeah, and if starting means renting a room, like, and that's your first option, like test it out, try it out.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So strategy number 3 is really exciting to me, because I had no idea when I started off in real estate that my first home could actually be a gateway to my dream life. Like, when you're bringing in a second stream of income from your property, you actually have more, security, freedom, flexibility. You could start a business, travel, go part-time for your job, pursue hobbies. There's so many different options. Like, if you wanted a paid vacation, you could just rent out your house while you're away. And you also have the freedom to customize your home whenever you want to. And you don't have to like have your landlord tell you have to paint your walls back. You could also invest in a garden. There's no way that I'm going to put like time and energy into a garden at a rental property where I'd have to like leave the next year, spend all that money and just leave it. You can host your family or friends. You have a place for friends to stay when they're in need. You can create a workshop or studio space for your passion projects. That's what my partner did. There's actually a lathe in the room next to me. I don't know if you don't know what a lathe is. It cuts metal. So he just like spends the days like doing work projects in there. You can finally get a dog. There's no longer any breed restrictions or pet fees you have to pay, because that's super expensive. And best of all, you can actually use equity from your first home to buy your next property. I think that is the most exciting thing to me. And I was actually able to do this very recently. So I used the equity of this home to buy a beach house in Florida with my sister. So we used a cash out refinance. So I didn't need to save up, to buy my next home for years and years. All I needed to do was tap into the equity of this home right here. So that one investment created my next investment opportunity, which was, I was like, I want to tell everyone this. Like, I know it has a lot of numbers involved and like interest rates and blah, blah, blah. But it's really, really cool. So it was definitely our childhood dream to buy a home in this pricey area near the beach. And so it's off 30A near Seaside. It's where the Truman Show was filmed, if you know what that is. But we honestly did not think that was going to be possible for another like 20 plus years. But we made it happen because of the purchase of this home. So it was amazing. Also, we were able to pull like $85,000 from our home, and our monthly mortgage payment, like on this house, it only went up like $130. So it's
amazing.
Crazy. And I didn't know that when I first, got into real estate. It just was something I learned along the way, and it was crazy.
So it is so amazing to just be able to pull out $85,000. Obviously, it's making your loan a little larger, but that doesn't affect your monthly payment that much, which is such a good strategy. And then you can also, what I've done is buy a house, know that I'm only going to live there for 2 years, 1 or 2 years, and then use that house as a rental and buy another house. And like each time I've done that, I've upgraded a little bit more, gotten to a little better location. And so I didn't buy like my ultimate dream house for my first house because I knew that was going to be a rental property that I just kind of rolled myself into having a real estate portfolio. So many ways to turn your first house into your next investment and then eventually your dream house.
Yes. And there's not any after pictures yet because we are currently renovating it. So stay tuned.
Okay. We talk to people about buying a house every day, every single day, even when we're not working. People will come up to us and say, I don't think buying a house is a good idea, or I think it's too risky, renting is safer. And so I just wanted to go over a few of those where when you rent, it's a problem. And when you buy a house, it's not a problem, or it can't happen. So first, people say, well, if you lose your job, you can't pay your mortgage. But if you lose your job, you can't pay your rent either. So if you have a mortgage and you own your house, you can create income, which you probably already will be because you're taking this and and heaven forbid you lose your job, but it's always possible. And so having that second stream of income, it's like a safety net. If your landlord decides to sell or increase your rent, you're kind of at the whim of your landlord, right? You have to move or you have to pay the increase. And you lose everything that you put into the house to make it a home, like saying like the garden, or if you paint something.
Yes, my neighbors are doing that right now. Like they're renting and they are like putting so much effort into their backyard because it was just like a dirt pit. And now I'm like, oh, I know how much that costs. Like I just redid part of my backyard and it was not like, I mean, it's at least I'm reinvesting in my house, but like they're just spending money that is going away. Sorry, that was a tangent.
And we get it like that because you want a nice place to live, right? But you have to leave that all behind when you maybe be forced to move. So I love the safety and security of owning your own house, so you have control, autonomy over where you live. And then this is like probably the main one that we hear is that I like when if something breaks, my landlord's going to fix it. And really, if we're being honest with ourselves, how often do we hear about landlords being on top of things? We try to be landlords that are on top of things, but the stories are always like, my AC broke in August and they didn't come and fix it for 3 days. And there's
a lot of slumlords. Yeah, and they're not organized. A lot of people are not organized.
Yeah. So I think being able to have control over those things. We also teach that you should have a reserve in your bank account so that if those things happen, it's not a huge stress. You're able to cover the repair easily and you're adding equity to your house by improving it. So you're basically paying yourself out of your savings, you're paying into your house, which then makes your house value go up. So I like to look at it that way. And then after you're done with your lease, you maybe get your security deposit back. And that's if you're lucky. After you're done with a year of homeownership, you can look back, and especially if you're in a high appreciating area, you've gained all of that appreciation. You've gained equity in the form of you've paid yourself every month in your mortgage, and then you're building generational wealth, which I think is super, super important. And part of our mission is getting real estate into the hands of more people, so it's not just the select few that can pass on wealth. So after hearing that and thinking about what real estate can mean to people, what does it mean to you? Put in the chat. So for me, it's freedom. I'm all about financial freedom and schedule freedom. So real estate to me has meant just basically an overall freedom. Yeah. So what do you guys think about, financial freedom, confidence,
growth and
stability, space, investment. Oh, there's so many money-minded people in this one. I love it.
The confidence is honestly the biggest thing that I saw change. I was like, I don't know, like, because I think I started when I was like 23. I was pretty timid, and getting into real estate like this, like, changed me completely. It was crazy, the difference.
I know. I feel like we can talk about that forever, and we like almost to tears. Like we're different people.
Yeah, that's very true.
Love these answers.
Okay, so we say all this to show you, we just want to show you how many options you actually have. I don't think a lot of people know that. They don't think that they have options when it comes to real estate investing. And it's definitely possible for you to buy your first home and make it an investment. You just need to get started, like make a move. And you truly only need one house to be a real estate investor. Despite what the media is saying, I know it's showing us a lot of middle-aged white dudes who are buying a bunch of hotels and, you know, buildings, and you're just like, I can't do that, or I have no interest in doing that. So I get it. But Steph and I both started the same place as you now. Like, we didn't own any homes. We were carrying debt and we didn't know anything about real estate. But now we actually have, we have a combined net worth of $2 million, and we're well on our way to financial freedom. So we truly want that for you as well. And we know that you can get there. So at this point, you probably can see how buying your first home can get you to your dream life faster. But you're probably thinking like, yeah, this sounds great, but I literally don't know anything about real estate. Like, what is a cash out refinance? Can you repeat that? Like, what does that mean? So that's really okay. Seriously, all of our clients have said that before. Like, all of our clients say they don't know anything about real estate, and then they go off and buy their first home and build a little tiny house. Like, that is so many of our clients. And we can definitely help you navigate all that, like the home buying process, developing a personal investment strategy, and something that like directly supports your dream life. Like, that's our mission in life. Like, we're like, more people like this, more, you know, women like this. So that's what we're here for.
We're here for it. Okay, so you have two options. You could try to navigate this process on your own, but you could also, you know, end up next year in the same exact spot.
Yeah.
It's risky because it's a big step, right? It's a huge undertaking. And so it is a big risk to just put it off. It's kind of the status quo to not do this. Or you can let us do the work of curating that information, packaging it together. We have so many resources, and people have asked us for what we're about to give you. And so we really want you to learn from our experience and get started in investing sooner and smarter with a community. So option 2 sounds way better, right? You're here, so we know that you're already ready to jump into this. You want to start your investing career and start on your pathway to financial freedom. We saw so many people already say that. So in that case, we would love to invite you to join us for Open House Homeschool.
Oh.
Yeah.
What's this happening? Oh yeah. Okay. Yes, please join us. Like, we've been working so hard on this for you. And again, like Steph said, like, people have been asking us for lots of this information for years, like a lot of the information that you're typing in the chat right now. And we honestly created this because of our own horrible experiences trying to buy our first homes and trying to get into real estate investing. Like, I had such a bad experience the first time I explored trying to buy my first home that it made me wait for 2 years before I jumped in. And I don't want that for anyone else. Like, I wasted 2 years of money where I could have been earning, you know, equity and rental income. So what I found was there was so much information, but nothing was like super clear and personal. Like, I had all these questions and I couldn't find what I was looking for. And there were people, like industry people, like realtors, lenders and stuff like that, like people making me feel like they were just like feeding me all this false information, and I didn't know who I could trust. So I feel really lucky that Steph and I met and like both had pretty similar situations, like experiences with this. And we really bonded over creating something like that would really help people not have to go through that again. So Steph and I took all the information we learned from our own experiences, from our grad school, our real estate grad school, And we wanted to make sure that would give people like everything they need, nothing that they don't, make it super clear. And as a company, like we're very clear about what our values are, and we truly do stick to them. So we know homeschool is really like the only course out there for first-time buyers and investors. And we're not just like boring people telling you the steps to buying a house.
We're not boring.
We're gonna give you like seriously like lifelong skills to be a smart real estate investor, and so you can get into your dream life faster than us even, you know. So like me thinking I needed to be my rich friend's parents before I could buy a beach house, like I don't want that for you. I want you to be like, I'm buying my first home, you know, and eventually, you know, maybe in the next year or two I can buy a second home, and like I want you to dream big. Okay, so we have a lot of information online about this program, but people have been asking us like specific questions about exactly what they'll learn. So I'm just going to run down this really quickly. But remember, if you do have additional questions, you can write them in the chat, and Celeste is going to collect them for the end. So what you'll learn is you're going to learn how to assemble your real estate dream team to make the best possible investment. And we also, I think I saw a few of you like asking about realtors. We actually handpick an amazing realtor for you based on your needs in your city. Obviously, if you're in Austin, we have an awesome team of realtors here that you can work with. And then also in this program, you're going to learn like how to structure partnerships to make investing possible sooner and happen more frequently. You'll be able to identify red flags and pricey home repairs. So you're going to avoid potential money pits. Like you're going to walk into a fixer-upper home if that's what you choose to do, and know what to look out for. You'll confidently navigate your home inspection and be able to negotiate like an investor. So you won't be taken advantage of. You're going to know what you can get when you're trying to invest. And negotiate, sorry. And then make a personal home buying plan that gets you into your first home ASAP. You'll navigate your first year of home ownership. So like tackling property taxes, home maintenance, unexpected repairs. I think that's like you can Google like how to buy a house, and then no one is telling you what being a homeowner means. I think that to me was kind of scary. Like, what now? Like, what do I do with this house? So we don't leave you empty-handed in that way. And finally, you're going to successfully plan out and manage renovations to start cash flowing quickly. So I think that's a big thing, is like knowing how to organize your properties. And we will give you all those tools that you need.
So quickly, there are 6 modules in homeschool. Kristina and I are, like she said, we're not going over the mechanics. We are going to go over mechanics, but not just that, because we are currently doing this. We've done this before. So the 6 modules, the first one, you'll learn the exact cost of buying a house and how to budget for what you need, which is huge, because once you have that goal in mind, it is so much easier to actually get there. Module 2 is about leveraging the most effective and powerful real estate team. You're not just hiring random people. This is important. It's deliberate, and it should be, especially if you have an investor mindset. Yeah. Module 3 is about analyzing homes for your specific goals. And so we have spreadsheets, we have tools for you that help you do this in a really, really systematic way. And then module 4, you're going to learn how to make a strong offer. And as you guys have mentioned in the chat, markets are really crazy. So This is a huge one. And not only that you're getting your offer accepted, but you also need to make sure that you're protected and that you have terms in the offer that are going to make this a good investment. In module 5, you're going to acquire the tools. Kristina mentioned this, and navigate navigate the inspection, which is huge. You don't want to take on a lemon or a money pit. And so that's a huge deal for us, not signing up for repairs that you're not expecting. Yeah. And then and then once you have that inspection, negotiating like an expert, like a pro. And then module 6 prepares you to take on your first year of homeownership. Like Kristina said, it's kind of like they're pushing you out of the hospital with a baby and you don't know what to do. And so we have a community, so many amazing things that you wouldn't have learned otherwise. And so it puts you ahead of the game in a real way.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm going to tell you like what exactly you get in this. Besides the modules, you also get like, lesson videos, PDF guides, quizzes to test your knowledge after each module, homework assignments. They're actually fun homework assignments. I think like interactive. So makes you actually like do some stuff that'll get you into your home faster. You're going to get an entire glossary of investor terms. So when you are trying to negotiate and stuff or like talking to contractors, you don't look like a noob like we did when we first started out. And then you also get like life. Oh, I think this one is the best part of all this, lifelong access to our homebuyer community. So, I mean, that's why I found Steph, right? Like when I was trying to renovate my first home, I was like, I need confirmation. Like I need someone to tell me that like, even I think this is okay, but I wanted to find other like-minded people who were confirming that like this was okay, what I was doing. So we have a community that like, we don't, you can ask your questions, you can get referrals, and you like learn alongside each other. And then me and Steph are not leaving you after you take the course, like you're kind of stuck with us. And so we're always going to be around to like answer questions and share more information. Even right now, like our home buyer group is so amazing, and people are always sharing their renovation projects, asking for referrals, and it's very helpful. So our course also has some bonus material for y'all, of course, because we're overachievers. So we're going to give you, I mean, I think this is also what the majority of y'all want, is like live group coaching sessions, like almost like this, but like we'll be more, in person. We'll see each other's faces. We're like talking. So we're going to have like office hours with me and Steph. That's a perfect place. Like as you're going through the module and you have like a specific question that comes to mind, that's where you're going to be able to ask these. So it's your time to get like some one-on-one time with me and Steph. And then, oh, actually, this might be the best.
Wait.
So I think I'm like a nerd about like being like systems and stuff. So, our investing toolbox, like these are templates that Steph and I, and spreadsheets that Steph and I use in our day-to-day. So this is helping us like analyze our investments and also keep them organized, so no money is going to be like left on the table. And we do love spreadsheets. We both love them. And we use them not only to keep us organized, but like actually accountable for the goals that we're trying to hit. So we're really excited to share that with y'all. A lot of people ask us for our spreadsheets, and we're like, well,
Yes.
now we'll make them better and give them to you.
So to recap really fast, 4 online group coaching sessions, our investor toolbox, which is, like Kristina said, I live in these spreadsheets genuinely myself. I couldn't do this without them. Otherwise, everything would get dropped. I would, it's very important to have these. Also, like analyzing deals, making sure that you're thinking of everything.
Yeah.
And then bonus number 3 is the live individual coaching session at the end with me and Kristina. So this is, I kept on saying one-on-one, but it's actually 2-on-1, me and Kristina and you. We get together for an hour and we say, here's your goals, here's how you're going to get there. We strategize with each other. You can backwards engineer. You can say, I want by 2025, I want to be here. Okay, what do we need to do each year to achieve that? So this is a fan favorite for sure, because we love doing this so much, and we've done all of these strategies. So bonus number 3, and then you're probably curious as to what this costs. You get all of this homeschool program and all the bonuses, and we know for a fact that this will change your life, just because it's changed ours. It's changed the hundreds of people we've worked with before. It's going to increase your net worth, and it will save you money, save you time. My favorite is obviously the net worth increase. I started real estate investing as a teacher. I taught 4th grade math, and I had a negative net worth. My net worth was negative $35,000. I had student loans. I honestly was pretty discouraged about life in post-college. I was like, is this what it is. Like my salary ceiling was so determined. I knew what I could save, and it wasn't very much. And so I owe my life to this. And so I think the capacity to increase your net worth through real estate is worth it. And you'll be, your net worth will double, triple, quadruple as you keep on going. So
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, I didn't even say it. You can get homeschool for $16.97.
Yeah. And for anyone, like if you're not completely satisfied, or you just, you show us the progress and the homework completion within 30 days of starting the course, we're definitely going to give you your money back. And to like make it easier, we do offer, a payment plan. So if like $16.97 is too much of a chunk for you, you can definitely do the payment plan. And if you have gone to our website, you might have noticed that there on the sales page, there's actually 2 different tracks to choose from, like the homeowner one or the investor one. So today we obviously talked to you more about the investor track because you're all here obviously to learn how to be an investor. But the homeowner track, just so y'all know, it's perfect for anyone who is simply looking to just buy one house, but wants it to be an asset, not a liability. So essentially the homeowner track is the investor track, but it's minus the investor lessons, and you don't get the one-on-one meeting with me and Steph. But overall, we created this course with an investor mindset. So like there are a few tidbits here, through the homeowner track with investor tips and tricks. So both tracks are geared towards anyone who has not bought their first house, but they do want to make a smart investment when they do buy. Oh yeah, and then remember I said in the beginning, that little annoying teaser I did, that we appreciate you all so much for joining us and like sticking with us through this and like year of Zoom. So we really do appreciate you sticking with us. So for anyone who's still around and you are interested in taking our course, we'll give you $200. You just need to enroll tonight, I think, by 11:59 tonight. And you just enter the code investor2021 and you'll get that. Okay, so before we get into the Q&A, we're about to do that. I wanted to go over just like some things you're going to overcome through this program. Because I remember when I was trying to buy my first home, I was super nervous about all the unknowns, the costs, like everything that could go wrong. So again, me and Steph are using our own experiences to make sure that's not going to happen to you. Okay, so in this program, you will conquer the fear of being taken advantage of from like salespeople and contractors, the fear of not knowing all your options when you're buying, the fear of making a bad and costly financial decision, the fear of getting stuck with a house you're not happy with, the fear of not being prepared for unknown expenses and repairs, throwing away money on rent, and the fear of maintaining a home on your own. So after all this, after you go through this program, you should be like super excited and very prepared to make money moves. And again, I think that's actually a huge issue. Like we get really comfy where we are, and doing something new is really hard, to just do on your own. I know it's the beginning of the year, so we're all probably trying to make goals and like create new habits, and it's hard. Like a lot of these habits are going to just drop off after a few weeks, and it doesn't have to be that way. So everything we put into this are things that we truly wish we knew along the way, because it would have made our journey so much easier. And we probably would have had a higher net worth by this point.
So. Triple.
Yeah. Yes.
So once you enroll, you set up your account, and then you'll have access to your homeschool dashboard. That's what this looks like. We wanted to give you kind of an insight into what it looks like inside. And then you'll start the orientation module, and all of these modules will be available to you on January 21st. So you'll buy, and then you'll get all full access to everything on January 21st, even though it is kind of paced week by week. But everything will be available January 21.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so we're not exactly sure why you showed up here today, but it's probably because you kind of feel stuck. Like you're probably tired of wasting money on rent, but you don't know like what to do now. Like what's the first step to do? You might be like overwhelmed. You're exhausted from looking online, talking to your friends, but not getting any clarity. Definitely remember talking to a lot of friends who I was like, how did it all work for you? And not getting a clear answer. And maybe you just want more. You're like intrigued by the idea of creating a second stream of income through real estate, but like you don't know where to start. So, and you want someone to trust to show you the way. And maybe you're having some doubts about all of this, like everything. Trust me, I'm a skeptic. I totally get it. I question everything always. I'm like, are you for real? What's going on here? So I get that.
So you might be thinking, I don't know if I have enough money to buy a house. And even worse, I will never have enough money to buy a house. We don't want you to think that. We help you take inventory of where you are right now with your financial situation. And then we help you, we give you tips into what we've helped other buyers with. And then we really, really have helped buyers at every single income level and savings level. So we've seen it all. Don't have to be embarrassed. This is Courtney. She is one that felt really shameful about her financial situation. And more than that, she felt unsure of where she needed to be. So you can't get somewhere if you don't know where you're going. It's so important to know exactly what you need to do. Otherwise, in your mind, it gives you an easy opportunity and an excuse to not get started. So.
Okay, yeah, this one I hear a lot. I'm not a handy person. How will I manage repairs and renovations? Trust me, I'm not a handy person either. I've done multiple renovation projects, so I literally don't know how to fix a toilet or change a light fixture. But we're going to show you how to find, hire, and manage contractors, like whatever your experience level is. This is Anna. She took our course this summer, and I think her major revelation was realizing that her first home doesn't have to be her dream home. I think that was like holding her up. She was like, I gotta get that dream home, gotta live in this certain area, have to have this amount of natural light. And that kind of was just like holding her back a little bit. And she never was making any moves. So, but she realized like her first home could help her get to her dream life faster. So also learning that she too could renovate a home. I think that was a big revelation for her. She was like, oh, like, even though I'm new to all this, like I can do this. And we showed her the way to do it. So I'm very excited for her.
So this is something I've already seen in the chat, actually. Houses on the market are too expensive. Why shouldn't I just wait for the market to crash again before I buy? This is something that you hear in the ether, in your circles, and it's really easy to just believe it because, again, status quo is to not make action, to not put yourself out there. But you're spending so much money on rent every year, and you're not getting any equity. So when you do run the numbers and see how painful that could be, if you just continue to do that, it's motivating. And then we'll teach you how to find the best deals in whatever market. Even though 2020 has been so crazy, Kristina and I both bought houses this year. So not only are we helping other people do it, we're doing it ourselves. And so we will help you in no matter what the market looks like. This is not just advice that applies when the market is dead.
Yeah. And I'm about to look for my next home to live in. So I feel y'all.
We'll be in the same place. I'm constantly looking for houses. This is Josie. She's also an OG homeschooler. She took the course this summer. And she's young, as you can see, and she just thought it wasn't possible. She took the course to prove herself right, that buying a house wasn't for her. And then she realized that it is. So she's on her way. She's getting pre-approved, I think, right now. And she realized that it takes community, it takes being creative to get into the market. And you don't have to put 20% down.
Yeah. Okay. And let's see. Okay. Yeah. So I know one I know has taken a course and they bought a house. So why would I pay for this? I would be asking that too if I were you. I get that. But first of all, like, there honestly is nothing like this out there. And we're simply not just showing you the mechanics of buying a house. Like, this course will actually put you ahead of other buyers out there. And not only is it obviously like gonna save you money, but also make you money now and teach you how to do it in the future. So you're gonna be far more educated than any other buyer on the market and empowered to advocate for yourself throughout the process. So like when you're dealing with, contractors or other investors, like you're gonna know how to advocate for yourself and speak up, which I think is very important. Oh, they're so cute. So this is Matthew and Kristina. They took our course this summer too, and they didn't want to buy a house. Like we had out of like I think it was like 25 people who took it. There was 3 people who were like, nope, don't want to buy a house. And so they had just gotten married, and they actually had their family say, hey, as a wedding gift, we'd love to help you pay for your down payment. And they were still like, nope, not doing that. And I think, so what they told us is they didn't want to do it how their parents did it. Like their idea of buying a house was like, okay, we buy this house, we live here for 30 years, and that's what we do. And they were like, well, we're married, but we don't want to settle down. Like that doesn't mean that to us. So through this course, they actually like learned that they could have investment properties, and they, that kind of like idea, that perspective, like it changed their life. And now they're like, we're going to buy our first house. We're going to house hack it. We're going to buy a second home to vacation in. And we want to buy our parents' homes, like as investment properties for them, for their retirement. And I was like, wow, look at y'all. So it was really motivational to see that, honestly.
Okay, so now that you've listened to us for an hour, you probably have guessed that we are obsessed. We wholeheartedly believe in the life-changing magic of real estate. And I really hope that this information sort of like lit you up or lit a fire in you to get started on whatever path. Like we said, it's so specific to everyone. But we hope that this has given you some options, made your gears start turning, so that you can start thinking about your dream life in the context of getting it sooner. And we really do have a lot of resources for you on our website. We have a podcast. We have so much free stuff that you can browse, but we would love, love, love if you would join us in our community, in our homeschool community. So go ahead.
Especially people who like have been wanting to do this for years. Like what's stopping you? I feel like you need some accountability. So that's why we're here.
We can give that to you.
We are squashers.
Yes. We know that it will save you so much money. It will save you time. It will save you headaches, and it will earn you thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands. And
every single person who took our course after is like buying a house. Like we've already had 3 people close. Like that to me was crazy. I mean,
especially if you knew them. So you're going to be able to buy a better investment, eliminate your monthly housing expenses, which we already did our meditation around, create a second stream of income to fund your dream life. And then you're also going to learn these investment strategies that you can implement for your first house, but then every house that you buy after. So you'll have lifetime access to this, lifetime access to the community as well, which is huge because everyone's doing such huge things and they're sharing their anxieties, getting referrals. Community is so, so huge.
Yeah. So thank y'all. Thank you so much for hanging in there again in this annoying age of Zoom. So feel free to jump off now. If you are ready to join us, you can get enrolled. Or, I mean, if you have any further questions, feel free to type them in the chat. We're here. We'll stick around for a while and answer some of your questions as they come up. Okay, let's see what we got. Okay. What does renting mean for insurance? What's it like to put together a lease for a roommate?
Good question. So on your insurance, you just want to let them know that you're renting the room out to someone. There's also short-term rental insurance that you can get. Insurance companies are kind of realizing that they need to be more on top of it with different people, how they're using their properties. So for me, it hasn't increased it much. If it has, it's like, $10 for the whole premium, which is yearly. It's pretty minimal. I forgot what the
I know. Sorry. Well, it was something about rent or leases. So I think it was like, how do I lease that out? And we actually do teach you, like, one of our lessons is how to find the best tenants and roommates. But I think it depends on like your strategy. I think you first have to find your strategy to then answer that question, because like it just depends on if you're renting out a whole house. Are you renting out a tiny house? Are you renting out, a room in your house? So you have to like dig at that question first, like dig a little deeper into that question first.
Yeah. And we have systems. I've so many different types of rentals that I've done all of these types of leases, and you always want to have a lease, even if it's your best friend in your house, always want a lease. But again, there's systems around it. There's software that we use that like vets tenants for you. And, we have so many tricks that make it like actually pretty seamless to be a landlord.
Mm-hmm. Would you recommend buying an investment property before or after going to grad school? Oh,
ooh, love this. Before.
Yeah, you go, because I don't.
So I always think you should go buy an investment property sooner if you can, if it's possible, because this could fund your grad school. I mean, you could buy an investment property at the beginning of grad school, cash flow it as you go. And then at the end, I actually had a client do this. He bought a house before he went to law school, finished, and then he sold the house and paid off all his student loans.
Yeah.
So
it's funny because like I remember when I went to college, and this was before I did not care about real estate. I was like, I care about my friends and that's it. And I don't know. And my dad was like, you should try to buy a house, because I was going to an out-of-state school. He was like, you should try to buy a house and get in-state, tuition and like rent it out to people. And I was like, no, I don't want to do that. And now I'm like, I should have done that. That would have been so smart. But yeah.
Okay, what is a good rule of thumb for how much house I can afford? I've heard 28% for debt to income ratio, and Dave Ramsey suggests 25% of your take-home pay. This would be for a first-time home buyer. Okay, so the lenders will allow you to borrow 50% debt to income, but that includes all of your debt. So that's your car payment, your credit card payments, your student loan payments, plus your mortgage. Everything has to be below 50%. But really what we like to say to our buyers is like work backwards from what you feel comfortable paying every month. And you can start with your rent. Like, does the rent feel like comfortable for you? Is it a stretch? Can you afford way more than your rent? So work backwards from that number, from your monthly, and then that should get you your total price that you can actually afford for a house.
Yeah. Also, Dave Ramsey is super conservative with his numbers, I would say.
For sure.
I can't decide between a new built and pre-owned home. Any advice? That actually we also do. We have a lesson all about that in our course, but I think like I think you have to ask yourself some personal questions, like why do you want your house? Like, what is your big why? If you're wanting, if you work a lot and you don't have time for renovation, and your quality of life, you're like, I want to buy a house, but like, I can't go through this project right now, then maybe lean more towards a new build. We also have a podcast episode out where one of our clients, Julia, she talks about why she bought a new build. And then I think in her second purchase, she bought a new a resale, right, Steph?
Yep.
So
yeah.
That's a good example. If you want more information on that, go listen to that podcast episode about maybe, Celeste put it in. Thank you, Celeste.
Yeah.
And it actually gives you kind of pros and cons for both.
Yeah. I would say in a really competitive market, a new build is not a bad idea, because the new builds are often a little less competitive. So if you're open to that and you're finding it hard to find a house that doesn't have a million offers on it, new builds can be a really good option for that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. We're waiting for Celeste to pop up a question for us. Okay. What's the best way to find partners? Do you recommend only partnering with one other party? Does more than two total make it too complicated? I personally don't think that there's a right answer for that. The best way, I think, I mean, I can only speak to how I've done it is you kind of have to ask around first. First, I would approach the people you would want to partner with, right? Like, who do you really jive with? Like, who has similar values to you? Who communicates very well? I think that's what me and Steph have both found with really good partnership is like, those people know how to communicate. So I think that's like the first step in finding, obviously seek out who you want, but then if no one comes to mind, I mean, reach out to your community via social media, whatever, like go into we have a women investor group. There's so many different ways you can kind of try to find like-minded people.
Yeah. And I don't think it's a bad idea. Sorry, Celeste, keep that up. But I don't think it's a bad idea to partner with more than two people. I think it's actually, you can make it work. And I think the only piece of advice, I think that like the golden rule is you have to have an operating agreement. Everyone has to be on the same page of what is happening in every situation, even the worst situation that could possibly happen. What are you going to do?
And Steph and I have actually, I mean, we've been in a partnership that didn't work. It was me, Steph, and then one other person, and it didn't work out with us. And honestly, it wasn't the end of the world because we already had picked a partner who, although at the end we went our separate ways, it ended pretty amicably. And it was because this person could communicate pretty well and like wasn't just going to be an asshole.
Yeah, and we had a solid operating agreement. We just went back to that document. We still made money. It was, didn't devastate us. But if you don't have those things in place, it is easy for things to change, sign something, notarize it.
Money makes people weird.
Yes. Does homeschool help if you're in a really HCOL area? I'm in San Francisco and high cost of living, sorry. And don't think single family house would be a feasible investment when they tend to go over by $50,000 every time. Yes, I think especially if you're in a high cost of living area, because first of all, we teach you how to invest in a really creative way. And then Kristina's investing in a different city. So she has the experience to kind of talk you through what that could look like if you want to get into the market, but you don't want to be in the market where you are. There's so many. I have a friend in LA. She's partnered with me on 2 properties that she's like, I want to live in Echo Park, but I can't afford to buy a house here, but I also want to be in the real estate investing market because I don't want to be far behind in my net worth.
For sure. Like there's so many people in our community that are always looking for partnerships. And, if you have the cash, they have the boots on the ground and they can do the research and find the property and you could be equal partners that way. So there's so many different ways but I'm sure there is a way to figure out like a creative strategy for your area. If you're like, nope, I want to stay here. I want to stay around this area.
Definitely.
Any more? Oh, what if both partners are freelancers? Well, I guess Steph, like we've partnered together and we both were technically freelancers. Like we were both working for ourselves.
And freelancing, we go into this really in depth in the course because if this is going to become more and more common as the time goes on, but you can still be looked at as a really good borrower if you are a freelance worker because you just have to make sure that you're setting yourself up on your taxes. But if you have 2 years of solid income and you've paid taxes on that income, then you're actually a pretty good candidate for a loan. And then if you both are freelancers and neither of you are strong borrowers, then you might need to loop in a third partner.
What percentage of first-time homebuyers would you say who intend to try to cash flow while also living in the property are actually successful at doing so? I'm really getting at how hard do you feel like it is to cash flow a property while living in it in the Austin area?
Okay. Well, so this is what I found. If someone is very determined to cash flow a property in Austin, you can do it. Yep. If someone is willing to rent out their room or 2 rooms, or if they're willing to be really creative and that is their goal is to cash flow, then you can do it. I've done it on every single property that I've bought in Austin. And we just get a lot of people who are like, well, I don't want to be uncomfortable. So I don't want to rent a room, so we have to be really, really creative about what their options are if they're not willing to like bend on certain things. So if you're willing to be a little bit uncomfortable right now, you can absolutely cash flow, because rooms in Austin are going for quite a bit of money. So if you rent 2 of them or 3 of them, you're absolutely cash flowing.
Yeah, and a lot. So why we think it's a no-brainer as a first-time home buyer if you're renting to buy a house is like you're paying rent, and the majority of our buyers are eliminating their housing payment. So before they're probably paying $1,800 a month, $1,500 a month, $2,300 a month on rent, and through buying a house, they have found a way to eliminate that payment, or even just lower it by like whether they're only paying $300 a month, which I think is a huge win, because remember, I think we went over your first home should be your gateway to your next property. So the equity of your first home should be able to like fund your next property. And I think that is the most exciting thing to me, where even if you're buying in a more expensive area and you're like, well, I'm not cash flowing $500 a month, at least you're eliminating your mortgage payment, and then you can reinvest, in a year or two or whatever, and use the equity from your home to reinvest in a different wherever. Like if you want to invest in a cheaper area, then you can, and then you still have your home that you live in, so you have that security. You don't have to pay a housing payment, and then you can reinvest. So I love that strategy more than just like cash flowing a lot. My biggest fear is buying something that the inspector didn't catch. Any advice on that? Yeah. Again, that is definitely in very much detail in our course. And that can happen. I'm not going to lie to you. That can happen.
Yeah.
It truly depends on what type of home you're buying. So that's why we really like to prepare you, if you're buying a fixer-upper home, what to look out for. So you're not just depending on other people. Like you're not just depending on your inspector or your realtor. You want 3 eyes on it. So you want your eyes, your realtors, and your inspector. So yeah, that could happen, but we try to prep you so that the possibility like that happening is way lower than where it would happen to most other buyers,
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, last one. Yeah, if we don't, we'll keep talking. Celeste knows.
Yeah.
So we're gonna have one more question. Okay.
What's
the shortest turnaround time you've seen between getting a loan and closing on a home? Oh,
I've had a 3-week close.
3 weeks.
I think between 2 and 3 weeks, and that it depends on your lender, and that's what you asked, right? Getting a loan.
Yeah.
And closing
Yeah.
on a home. Yeah.
Closing time. Yeah. I think 2 to 3 weeks is definitely what I've seen as well. Obviously, if you're paying cash, you can close in like 3 days.
Yeah.
But right now, it's during COVID, it was kind of closings were taking a little bit longer, where some of our best lenders who would take like 14 days were taking 35 days or so. So like it just depends. That is a good question to ask your lender though in a hot market, because that will make your offer more competitive if you can close quicker.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, I was like waiting for another question, but we're done here. Thank you all so much. If you have other questions or you want to talk to us more about homeschool, just let us know, and stay in touch with us. Like listen to our podcast, ask us questions on Instagram. We love
it everywhere. We really do. We're spreading the education. So thank you so much for being here. We will see you around on the internet.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye.